Since the iPhone hit the market, the only way to get one was to sign up with AT&T, which didn't make everyone happy. But that could change this morning. A big announcement is expected from Verizon Wireless. CNET contributor Linendoll has the latest. This is another one of the worst kept secrets in the history of the world. So the big rumor is that you're going to be able to get an iPhone with Verizon.
Yes, and this time I would be highly surprised if at 11 a.m. Verizon doesn't make that announcement. I spoke to both sides on Apple and Verizon, and they're declining to comment. But if you're on Verizon, you're like, oh my gosh, I've heard this rumor for years, but expect it to actually happen. And I think Steve Jobs will show up for this announcement. Again, 11 a.m., so anyone on Verizon's got their fingers crossed.
So this is huge, actually.
It is.
For not just for users, but for the smartphone industry as a whole, because it really opens up the choices that you have.
And I think it has the capability to really shift the landscape in terms of competition. 61.5 million Americans are on smartphones, and that number is incredibly on the climb. Android just eclipsed the iPhone at a 2 spot, and believe it or not, RIM, who makes BlackBerry, is actually in the 1 hold. So I think it's good for competition for a consumer, but also this could be detrimental to T-Mobile and to Sprint. What are they going to do to keep up?
It's going to be tough.
Yes.
What about people who are, because we mentioned, and you know, we all know anecdotally, we've heard the stories, people may love their iPhones, but there are certain places where no matter who your carrier is, the coverage may not be ideal. Are people, you think, going to switch to from AT&T to Verizon?
I think it's a lot to think about. I think initially, if you're in a contract or you're in a corporate account or if you're on a family plan, that could be a large to early termination fee. I think I did the math, and the highest number was about $625 just to make that switch. So I think there are a number of things to consider. But also, AT&T has had a bad network, a bad reputation for coverage area. So I think having AT&T, or if Verizon plays their cards right, people would love to make that switch, especially if the rumor is true that it's coming with an unlimited data plan. That could be huge.
That was my next question for you, because AT&T recently changed their plan, so now you actually have to pay per the amount of data that you're going to use. $30 a month we're hearing maybe from Verizon for unlimited data?
If it's unlimited, and the other thing is, if they run it on LTE on 4G, which would be amazing, more people likely to switch over. That would be a huge added bonus.
We should point out, though, if you have an AT&T iPhone, you can't use it on the Verizon network.
Yeah, and I won't get totally techie, but 2 totally different frequencies. If you have an AT&T iPhone, you can't just switch it over to Verizon. It doesn't work like that.
You'll have to buy a new one.
Exactly.
Apple's really upset about that. Katie, always good to see you.
Thank you.